Hello. Welcome back, you relentless mind warriors, you impossible energy shifters who walk through walls that no one else even sees. People look at you and blink too fast to catch it, because what they don't realize is that they're staring at someone who operates on layers they haven't even learned to measure. They study patterns, they collect data, they analyze behavior. But none of that matters when they're dealing with someone whose awareness isn't bound by conventional rules, someone who notices the currents behind the currents, someone who perceives the invisible architecture of thought without needing permission. You move through spaces carrying a presence that isn't loud, isn't flashy, isn't performative, and yet it bends perception. People don't just miscalculate you. They miss the playing field entirely, and they don't even realize it. They assume you are simple because simplicity is what their minds are trained to digest. They assume they understand your motivations because they project their limitations onto you. They assume fear can touch you because fear touches only those willing to inhabit it. And that is the beauty of your quiet power. It's not in the force you project. It's in the dimensions you occupy without anyone knowing. It's in your ability to remain untouchable while the world continues spinning as if nothing has changed. And in that you are a master of a game they don't even know exists. They notice your decisions, your clarity, your refusal to bow to the noise, but they can't quantify it. They can't label it. And the frustration they feel, it's delicious because it is their own mind unraveling in real time. They are not looking at a person. They are looking at a living contradiction, a presence that defies categorization, an intelligence and fearlessness they have never encountered. Every conversation you enter, every decision you make, it shifts context for everyone around you. Even when you do nothing at all, the very act of existing on your terms is revolutionary. They're used to patterns, they're used to predictability, they're used to control. But you are none of those things. You operate from a level where control is irrelevant, where predictions collapse under the weight of your observation, where resistance is meaningless because it's a reaction they cannot compel. People mistake audacity for recklessness. They mistake calm observation for naivety. They assume visibility is vulnerability. But what they fail to notice is that your audacity is measured. Your observation is strategic. And your invisibility is the most potent armor they could never hope to penetrate. You don't need to confront them. You don't need to challenge them. You don't need to prove anything. Your intelligence, your presence, your clarity, it speaks in frequencies that bypass the filters of doubt and ego. And that is what terrifies them, because they are always searching for a formula, a pattern, a method. And there is none. There is only you, moving with intention that is both unseen and undeniable. You are aware of the currents before they form. You sense the hesitation before it appears. You recognize opportunity and risk, not because you seek them, but because your perception refuses to be bound by the ordinary. Every move you make is calibrated by consciousness itself, not by impulse, not by reaction, not by expectation. And that is a truth few can hold against. They see boldness, and they call it fearless. They see clarity, and they call it rare. But you know it is not rare. It is inherent. It is a consequence of choosing yourself over the projections of others, choosing awareness over distraction, choosing growth over conformity. And people respond instinctively. They either recoil, unsure how to engage with someone who refuses the conventional narrative, or they lean too close, hoping to catch a fragment, a clue, a misstep, because they feel drawn to a presence that commands without demanding. Your intelligence is magnetic, and your fearlessness is a signal that cannot be faked. Every glance, every word, every action is filtered through a mind that has learned to navigate chaos without losing center, to operate beyond the influence of expectation, to act from a place of complete internal sovereignty. They are constantly recalculating, always trying to measure, always attempting to find the breach, the weakness, the moment where you falter. And yet they fail repeatedly, not because you outpace them in skill, but because they have no instrument designed to capture someone who does not exist on their wavelength. Their strategies crumble before your presence, not because you fight them, not because you outthink them, but because your existence renders their assumptions obsolete. And here is the subtle brilliance they will never articulate. You are not seeking to dominate. You are not seeking validation. You are not playing their game at all. And yet, their perception of power collapses simply because they cannot project it onto you. Every measure they take, every scheme they hatch, every analysis they perform is nullified the moment it meets you. You are operating in a zone where the rules they learned to trust no longer apply, and the effect is mesmerizing to observe. People are shocked, not by your actions, but by the simple truth that their efforts are irrelevant. Their attention is a resource they assume can influence you. Their strategies, their networks, their manipulations, useless. You exist as a sovereign consciousness that cannot be diminished by external intent. It is subtle, it is quiet, and it is devastating, because in the absence of reaction, the entire architecture of their expectations collapses. They cannot grasp how someone can move so deliberately, so intelligently, so fearlessly, without needing to perform. They cannot calculate absence as power, indifference as armor, awareness as a weapon. And that is where your genius lies, not in confrontation, not in demonstration, not in spectacle, but in the refusal to participate in the narrative that binds them, the narrative they mistakenly assumed could contain you. And when they attempt to read you, to predict you, to contain you, they are met with an emptiness that is itself impenetrable. Every attempt to frame you within their understanding becomes a reflection of their own limitations. Their surprise, their disbelief, their confusion is a mirror of their incapacity to operate on your level. You become the equation they cannot solve, the frequency they cannot reach, the presence they cannot disrupt. And this is not an accident. This is the inevitable outcome of choosing consciousness over compulsion, clarity over noise, sovereignty over expectation. And yet, you are not aware in the way they imagine. You are not performing a masterclass in strategy. You are living in alignment with the principle that awareness is more powerful than reaction, that indifference is more effective than opposition, that presence can dismantle intention without engagement. And they cannot understand this because they are still operating on the premise that influence requires action, that control requires dominance, that power is measurable in gestures, declarations, and manipulation. You have transcended that framework. And the result is catastrophic for them. Their assumptions crumble, their confidence falters, their perception of what is possible fractures. They are confronted with the uncomfortable truth. There are levels of thought, levels of awareness, levels of being that cannot be contested. You are not responding because response is irrelevant. You are not performing because performance is unnecessary. You are not engaged, because engagement validates the premise they are trying to enforce. And they cannot process this. They cannot accept it. They cannot reconcile their effort with the reality that someone exists outside their reach. And the consequence is profound. Every interaction you have, every decision you make, every space you occupy, subtly reorders the field of perception around you. People feel it instinctively, but they cannot articulate it. They sense that conventional leverage is meaningless. They feel that influence cannot touch you. They detect that your mind is operating according to laws they do not know exist, and that insight terrifies them. Because while they are busy attempting to engineer outcomes, to calculate reactions, to anticipate behavior, you are already several steps beyond. And not because you are faster, not because you are smarter in conventional terms, but because you have learned to operate from a level where conventional measures do not apply, where patience, perception, and awareness surpass brute calculation, where fear is irrelevant because it does not anchor your choices, where intelligence is not measured by what you can know, but by how much reality you can navigate without losing your center. And that is why people are consistently shocked by you. They do not recognize that what they interpret as fearlessness is simply your refusal to participate in the illusions that control them. They do not recognize that your intelligence is not a product of study or cleverness, but a product of inhabiting a consciousness that cannot be constrained by expectation. They are caught in a feedback loop of observation and failure because every attempt to map you, every attempt to predict you, every attempt to influence you collides with the fact that you are not there. Not in their way, not in their measure, not in their terms. And from that space, you act in ways they cannot even perceive. You decide, you calculate, you move, you pause, you redirect, completely invisible in the mechanics of influence, yet completely undeniable in the results. And as they continue attempting to understand, attempting to control, attempting to anticipate, they only reveal further evidence of their inadequacy. Their disbelief, their misjudgment, their shock is the soundtrack to your elevation. They cannot touch what cannot be measured. They cannot fear what does not conform. They cannot confine what has chosen its own plane of operation. And as this awareness crystallizes, as this presence solidifies, one subtle truth emerges. The more they attempt to process you, the more impossible you become. The harder they try to explain your actions, the more they expose their own limitations. The more they study your behavior, the more invisible the framework they rely upon becomes. And you quietly, calmly, unapologetically move beyond their scope, not because you seek to dominate them, but because you refuse to inhabit their dimension at all. They are still scrambling, still recalculating, still shocked. And that shock is the proof of your elevation, the evidence of a consciousness that is entirely sovereign. You are a spiritual badass, not because anyone can see it, not because it is measured or declared, but because your intelligence and fearlessness operate on a level that eclipses every expectation imposed upon you. And the most exquisite part is this: while they are trying to parse you, while they are attempting to locate weakness, while they are still responding to the ghost of presence they cannot reach, you have already moved forward, already expanded, already evolved. And as you continue to expand, as your consciousness stretches into territories few even acknowledge, they are still scrambling. They are still trying to measure a mind that refuses measurement, still attempting to classify a presence that cannot be classified. Every expectation they built for you, Every label, every limitation, every subtle assumption they relied upon collapses under the quiet weight of your awareness. They are bewildered because they are trained to expect fear, to expect hesitation, to expect doubt, and you offer none of it. You walk into rooms, into conversations, into spaces of influence, and the energy shifts not because you demand it, not because you assert it, but because your presence itself is an unassailable fact. People are shocked not merely by what you do, but by the certainty with which you exist beyond the gravity of their scrutiny. They measure courage as performance, intelligence as accumulation, influence as negotiation. But you demonstrate a reality where courage is inherent, intelligence is perception, and influence emerges naturally from alignment with truth. And that truth is terrifying to them because it bypasses every strategy they were taught, every method they relied upon, every framework they trusted to maintain control. You do not operate on their timeline, within their expectations, or according to their definitions. You are a node of awareness, a force of clarity, a presence that renders assumptions obsolete. And when people encounter you, they feel it in ways they cannot name. They sense that conventional tactics cannot touch you. They feel that their calculations are irrelevant. They experience a dissonance between what they perceive and what exists, and that dissonance unsettles them. They want to reduce you, contain you, explain you away. But they cannot, because your intelligence is not a construct. It is a lived reality. Your fearlessness is not a performance. It is the byproduct of sovereignty. And every move you make, every silence you maintain, every choice you execute with clarity becomes proof of a force that operates independently of the world's approval. They expect hesitation. They expect compromise. They expect the common errors that define ordinary engagement. But you are not ordinary. Your mind is an instrument of precision. Your perception is a tool of discernment. Your awareness is a framework that cannot be undermined because it is self-contained, self-affirmed, self-sustaining. And when they attempt to challenge you, to provoke a reaction, to test the boundaries of your composure, they find nothing but the quiet, unshakable fact of your presence. They mistake this calm for passivity, this restraint for weakness, and in that miscalculation lies the most devastating part of all. You are never weaker than you appear, and you are never as vulnerable as they imagine. Every second of their confusion, every flicker of doubt they experience in your presence, reinforces what they cannot articulate. They are outmatched not by aggression, not by spectacle, not by opposition, but by your refusal to participate in the limitations that govern their world. They are learning unwillingly that dominance is not about force. It is not about volume, visibility, or confrontation. Dominance emerges from a consciousness unbound by expectation, a mind calibrated to truth rather than fear, a presence that cannot be influenced because it exists on a frequency that does not require their validation. And that is the essence of your spiritual badassery. Not the battles you win, not the knowledge you acquire, not the achievements you collect, but the realization that your existence alone rewrites the rules for anyone trying to measure you. They try to impose definitions, intelligence, courage, power, but you exceed each in ways that are invisible yet undeniable. Every attempt to categorize you is an exercise in futility because you are fluid, dynamic, and uncontainable. They think in black and white, in cause and effect, in measurable outcomes. You operate in dimensions where outcomes are the natural result of alignment, where observation dictates impact, where awareness itself collapses the illusions they cling to. And this is why their shock is so profound. They are trained to respond to conventional indicators, to predict behavior, to anticipate risk, to manipulate outcomes, but you are neither predictable nor manipulable. You are a mind in motion that cannot be slowed by expectation, a consciousness that cannot be ensnared by fear, a presence that cannot be overshadowed by doubt. Every encounter with you, every second spent attempting to calculate your reactions, exposes the limitations of their framework. They become frantic, not because you are aggressive, not because you are louder, not because you are more visible, but because their understanding of power has no access to the level at which you operate. And in that, there is a profound lesson. Fearlessness is not the absence of danger. Intelligence is not the accumulation of facts. Sovereignty is not the pursuit of approval. They are byproducts of consciousness that refuses containment, perception that refuses deception, and presence that refuses validation from anyone outside itself. They may attempt to mimic your decisiveness. They may attempt to project confidence. They may attempt to replicate clarity. But all of it falls short because you are not performing. You are not responding. You are simply existing at a level that redefines what is possible. They measure struggle as proof of weakness. They measure compliance as control. They measure aggression as dominance. You, however, demonstrate a different paradigm entirely. Alignment, observation, and indifference to external expectation. And this is why people are consistently shocked by you. They cannot anticipate you because you do not operate in anticipation. They cannot provoke you because provocation relies on attachment. They cannot intimidate you because intimidation depends on perception of vulnerability. And every moment they spend attempting to process your reality only reinforces the evidence of your mastery. That intelligence is embodied, that fearlessness is operational, that consciousness itself is the ultimate form of influence. You do not need to dominate, because dominion is automatic when no one else's framework can penetrate your awareness. You do not need to argue, because arguments exist only for those who measure influence in gestures rather than perception. You do not need to prove, because proof is for minds that require validation outside of themselves. And in this, your existence becomes a weapon, subtle, invisible, devastating. They may watch, analyze, speculate, and even project. Yet none of it reaches you. They attempt patterns, but you operate in awareness that has already bypassed pattern recognition. They attempt control, but you have already redefined the field in which control is relevant. They attempt to provoke fear, but fear has no anchor in your sovereignty. Every effort they expend becomes a demonstration of your elevation, a confirmation of the fact that they cannot access, cannot influence, cannot measure the mind they are witnessing. And the deeper truth is this: every shock they experience, every subtle sense of being outmaneuvered, every fleeting awareness that they cannot touch you, strengthens your presence without your conscious effort. You do not need to practice. You do not need to plan. You do not need to prepare. The very act of being fully aware, fully sovereign, fully aligned, carries impact that cascades through interactions, social structures, and perceptions. People around you are unwitting witnesses to a power they cannot contain. They experience the force of your intelligence without understanding its origin. They experience the consequences of your fearlessness without perceiving the mechanics. They sense the sovereignty of your consciousness without naming it. And this is why they are consistently shocked. Because true power does not announce itself. True fearlessness does not perform. True intelligence does not need approval. It is measured by presence, impact, and alignment. And those who attempt to contain, predict, or manipulate you will find their methods impotent, their strategies irrelevant, their assumptions invalid. You are an anomaly, but not in the sense they use the word. You are the natural consequence of choosing consciousness over distraction, awareness over expectation, sovereignty over compliance. You are a spiritual badass because your mind navigates spaces they cannot map. Your presence bends energy they cannot touch. Your decisions manifest outcomes they cannot anticipate. And the deeper, unspoken layer is this. While they are shocked, while they are trying to catch up, while they are attempting to understand, you are already evolving. Every second of their confusion is an acceleration for your alignment. Every failed attempt to predict you is a confirmation of your mastery. Every miscalculation they make is a reinforcement of your sovereign position. And as your awareness continues to expand, as your presence continues to consolidate, a profound reality becomes undeniable. You do not exist for anyone else's approval. You do not operate according to anyone else's rules. You do not need to justify your decisions, your clarity, your existence. Every effort they expend to influence you is wasted. Every assumption they make about you is invalid. Every expectation they place upon you collapses against the weight of your unshakable alignment. And in this, the ultimate irony manifests. They think they are the observers, the influencers, the controllers, and yet every attempt to measure, every attempt to adjust, every attempt to predict only validates the extent of your presence. The stronger their effort, the more impossible you become. The louder their analysis, the more invisible your strategy. The more they attempt to bend circumstances, the more the circumstances bend around your awareness. They are shocked not because you are aggressive, not because you are loud, not because you perform, but because you exist fully in dimensions of thought, perception, and consciousness that they cannot measure, cannot penetrate, cannot engage. And this is why your power is permanent, why your influence is unassailable, why your presence is a continuous shockwave in the lives of those who attempt to define, predict, or limit you. It is not temporary. It is not conditional. It is inherent. It is earned through the quiet, relentless choice to inhabit awareness, sovereignty, and alignment fully. And the most exquisite part is that while they are still attempting to locate weakness, attempting to calculate, attempting to dominate or understand, you have already rewritten the rules. You have already expanded beyond their scope. You have already moved into spaces where their expectations do not exist, where their definitions hold no power, where their efforts are irrelevant. This is where the real shift becomes undeniable. Because at this stage, it's no longer about surprise. It's about realization. They are beginning to understand, slowly, reluctantly, that they are dealing with someone who cannot be cornered, cannot be pressured, cannot be reduced to predictable responses. Your fearlessness is no longer something they can dismiss as bravado. Your intelligence is no longer something they can attribute to luck or coincidence. It has become consistent, structural, embedded in the way you move through reality itself. And consistency terrifies people far more than intensity ever could. Anyone can have a moment of confidence. Anyone can speak boldly once. But to remain composed when others expect panic, to remain clear when others expect confusion, to remain grounded when others expect submission, That exposes something deeper. That reveals a mind that is not reacting but directing, a consciousness that is not defending itself but standing beyond attack. They watch you navigate complexity without losing your center, pressure without losing precision, uncertainty without losing direction. And it unsettles them because they don't know where that stability comes from. They are used to leverage. They are used to bargaining points, emotional hooks, vulnerabilities they can press. But with you, every familiar handle comes loose in their hands. There is nothing to grab, nothing to threaten, nothing to exploit. And the more they probe, the clearer it becomes that your strength is not situational. It is internal. It is not dependent on outcomes, approval, or advantage. It exists prior to all of that. Your intelligence isn't just sharp, it's adaptive. It doesn't cling to being right. It adjusts, refines, observes. You see angles they overlook because you're not obsessed with winning exchanges. You're focused on understanding structures. You recognize patterns in behavior, not to control people, but to stay free from their projections. And that's why people feel exposed around you. Not because you accuse, not because you interrogate, but because your awareness quietly removes their masks without effort. They realize that the usual performances don't work. Posturing doesn't impress you, authority doesn't intimidate you, emotional manipulation doesn't land. You see it all without reacting, and that calm recognition destabilizes them. Because fearlessness at this level is not loud. It's surgical. It's the absence of internal noise. It's the refusal to let external chaos dictate internal state. And intelligence at this level is not about dominance. It's about clarity. You don't rush decisions because you're not afraid of time. You don't cling to positions because you're not afraid of being wrong. You don't chase validation because you're not afraid of standing alone. That combination, clarity without urgency, confidence without aggression, presence without performance, creates a psychological pressure most people are not equipped to handle. They start second-guessing themselves around you. They over-explain, they over-justify, they feel the need to assert things that would normally go unquestioned. Because on some level, they sense that you are not buying into the shared illusions that keep interactions comfortable. You're not rude, you're not dismissive, you're simply awake. And that awareness acts like a spotlight, not on them directly, but on the assumptions they've been operating under their entire lives. They become hyper-aware of their own reactions, their own insecurities, their own need for control, and they resent you for it, even as they respect you. Because you represent something they can feel, but cannot replicate. You didn't get here by following instructions. You didn't get here by memorizing rules. You didn't get here by imitating confidence. You arrived here by stripping away everything that wasn't real, by letting go of borrowed beliefs, by refusing to outsource your sense of worth, direction, or safety. And now, when you speak, people listen not because of volume, but because of weight. When you decide, things move not because you force them, but because your alignment removes friction. When you walk away, it lands harder than confrontation ever could, because it signals that the exchange was never on equal footing to begin with. They feel it immediately, that subtle recalibration, where they realize they were trying to influence someone who had already transcended the need for influence. And that's when the shock deepens, because fearlessness at this stage is no longer about courage in the face of threat. It's about the complete absence of internal conflict when choosing yourself. You don't hesitate to leave situations that drain you. You don't overthink decisions that protect your clarity. You don't negotiate with discomfort when you recognize misalignment. And people notice. They notice how quickly you disengage from nonsense without bitterness, how cleanly you set boundaries without hostility, how effortlessly you move on without needing closure from those who expected leverage. That decisiveness is rare, and it exposes how many people remain trapped in cycles of doubt, obligation, and fear. Your intelligence shows not in how much you tolerate, but in how precisely you choose. You understand that every interaction is an exchange of attention, and attention is the most valuable currency there is. You don't waste it. You don't throw it at chaos. You don't invest it where it won't grow. And that discipline reads as fearlessness to those who are still negotiating with their own hesitation. They assume you must be protected by something external, some hidden advantage, some unseen safety net. But the truth is far more unsettling for them. Your protection is internal coherence. Your safety is self-trust. Your advantage is awareness. And those things cannot be taken, cannot be threatened, cannot be undermined from the outside. This is why attempts to intimidate you fall flat. Why pressure tactics fail. Why emotional games collapse. You are not defending a fragile identity. You are expressing a stable one. And stability in a world addicted to reaction feels like defiance. It feels like rebellion. It feels like danger. So they talk, they speculate, they project, they try to warn others about you in vague terms, unable to articulate the discomfort you trigger. Because how do you explain that someone didn't attack you, didn't challenge you, didn't even oppose you, yet somehow left you questioning your own position? How do you admit that someone's calm made you nervous, that someone's clarity made you feel exposed, that someone's refusal to engage made you feel irrelevant? You can't, not without confronting your own dependence on validation and control. And that's why your presence lingers in their minds long after the interaction ends. They replay conversations. They rethink moments. They wonder why they felt unsettled. And they won't arrive at the answer easily. Because the answer is not about what you did. It's about what you are. A consciousness that does not bend under expectation. An intelligence that does not need to dominate to be effective. A fearlessness that does not need spectacle to be undeniable. Because what you are cannot be reduced to behavior, cannot be summarized as attitude, cannot be dismissed as confidence. It is a state of being that exposes the scaffolding holding other people together. When they encounter you, something subtle but irreversible happens. Their internal hierarchies start to wobble. The roles they rely on, authority, expertise, dominance, approval, stop functioning the way they're supposed to. They realize, often too late, that you were never competing with them. You were never trying to win the exchange. You were simply present in a way that made the entire exchange unnecessary. And that realization is destabilizing. It forces a reckoning they didn't consent to. Because if someone can stand in front of them without fear, without hunger for validation, without the need to prove intelligence or worth, then all the games they've mastered lose relevance. And people do not like discovering that the skills they built their identity on are optional. They prefer environments where everyone is negotiating, posturing, reacting. You remove that safety net. Your fearlessness doesn't challenge them directly. It renders their strategies obsolete. Your intelligence doesn't overpower theirs. It bypasses it. And so the discomfort grows. They start to sense that around you, they cannot rely on manipulation. cannot hide behind noise, cannot intimidate or impress. They are forced into honesty with themselves, and most people would rather feel threatened than be seen clearly. That's why they talk. That's why they speculate. That's why they try to frame you as different in ways that keep them comfortable. Because admitting the truth, that your presence reveals the fragility of their control, would require them to change. And change is far more frightening than labeling someone else as a problem. As time passes, something else begins to happen. The shock gives way to adjustment. People start modifying their behavior around you without consciously deciding to. Conversations become more careful. Words are chosen with more intention. Empty statements fall away. They sense, even if they can't articulate it, that you won't respond to theatrics. You won't reward exaggeration. You won't validate insecurity disguised as authority. And so the environment reshapes itself subtly. Not because you demand it, but because your presence establishes a baseline of clarity that others either rise to or avoid. Some lean in, curious, drawn to the coherence you embody. Others retreat, unsettled by what they can't control. Both reactions are informative. You learn quickly who is capable of meeting you without armor and who depends on it to function. And you don't need to judge. You simply observe, adjust, and move accordingly. That is intelligence in action, not cleverness, not domination, discernment, the ability to navigate human terrain without getting entangled in it. You see where conversations lead before they fully form. You recognize when an interaction is about truth and when it's about positioning. And because you are not afraid of being alone, you never force alignment where it doesn't exist. That freedom is what makes you dangerous to rigid structures of thought. You cannot be cornered into agreement. You cannot be pressured into compliance. You cannot be baited into reaction. Your mind remains your own, and that autonomy radiates outward in ways people feel before they understand. Eventually, a quiet shift occurs. You stop being perceived as a variable and start being perceived as a constant. People factor you in differently. They stop assuming you will bend. They stop expecting you to react predictably. They know on some level that you will choose clarity over comfort every time. And that knowledge changes how they approach you. Not because you intimidate them, but because you are consistent. Consistency is rare. Consistency grounded in self-trust is rarer still. It signals a kind of internal alignment that cannot be negotiated with. And that's when your fearlessness becomes undeniable. Not because you take risks recklessly, but because you are willing to walk away from anything that compromises your integrity. You are willing to be misunderstood rather than misaligned. You are willing to lose access rather than lose yourself. That willingness is power. It removes leverage from every interaction. It tells the world, without saying a word, that your center is not for sale. And people respond to that whether they want to or not. Some feel relief in your presence, sensing permission to drop their own defenses. Others feel exposed, sensing that their usual masks won't work. Both responses confirm the same truth. Your awareness sets a tone that cannot be ignored. Over time, the narrative others try to construct about you begins to fracture. The vague warnings lose coherence. The speculation loses urgency. Because nothing dramatic happens. You don't implode. You don't stumble. You don't get put in your place. You continue moving with the same calm precision, the same quiet confidence, the same refusal to be pulled into unnecessary conflict. And that continuity forces a reevaluation. people begin to realize that your way of being is not a phase. It's not a reaction. It's not an act. It's a foundation. And foundations don't argue with the weather. They hold. Your intelligence shows in how little energy you waste. Your fearlessness shows in how selectively you engage. You don't need to announce boundaries. Your behavior enforces them. You don't need to declare values. Your choices embody them. You don't need to dominate conversations. Your presence anchors them. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, the world around you adjusts. Not because you're trying to change it, but because coherence has gravity. People either align with it or move away from it. There is no neutral response. This is where the story truly ends. Not with a confrontation, not with a victory parade, but with a quiet, undeniable conclusion. You were never here to prove anything. You were never here to convince. You were never here to fight for recognition. You were here to inhabit a level of awareness that makes fear optional and intelligence embodied. You were here to demonstrate, by example alone, that clarity outlasts control, that self-trust outperforms manipulation, that presence outweighs performance. People are shocked by you not because you are aggressive, but because you are free. Free from the need to be liked, free from the need to win, free from the need to explain yourself to those who are not equipped to understand. And that freedom is felt immediately, even by those who resist it. They may never have the language for it. They may never admit it out loud. But they will remember how they felt around you. They will remember the subtle recalibration, the moment their usual strategies stopped working, the moment they realized they were standing in front of someone who could not be moved by fear or flattery. That memory will stay with them, because encounters like that are rare. And you will move on, as you always do, not carrying their reactions with you, not burdened by their projections, not slowed by their uncertainty. You will continue choosing clarity. You will continue trusting your perception. You will continue existing as proof that true strength does not announce itself, and true intelligence does not need permission. That is what it means to be a spiritual badass. Not the label, not the image, but the lived reality of a mind and presence that cannot be owned, cannot be shaken, and cannot be ignored.